Hare Krishna and welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita session. So today, being an auspicious day of Ram Navami, we will discuss something about pastime of Lord Ram and a few key learnings that we can derive out of it for our own benefit. So we'll be talking about few Ram Katha, a few stories, a couple of stories from Ramayana, and we'll try to analyze them to uh, to understand how really we can benefit out of those teachings and how those are very significant. So the topic that we will be discussing today, it's going to be an interactive session. So the topic that we have picked up is a duty, destiny, and devotion. Duty, destiny, and devotion. So it's a very relevant topic. It's what is my duty, what is my destiny, and how devotion help us understand these both aspects. So quite a relevant topic, quite a relevant situations that we will also discuss and will require your input. So please be prepared for that. And with this, let's try to understand the situation more. We'll be discussing a story from Ramayana. Before going there, we want to understand how are what is it that we are really looking for in our lives. We are looking for order, and we are trying to avoid chaos. We are looking for order. We are trying to avoid chaos. So, what do you mean by order? When we say order in life, my life is in order, life set hai, what does it really imply? Now, it should imply that that more things are in my control, are in my hands. I feel like having control over more things than otherwise. If there are too many things are not in, I don't feel as if I have control over them or these are in my hand, then I find myself in an agitated condition or a distress condition. We call that as a chaos. And when we experience that reasonably things are in my control, we say that's a order. That is the setup that we wanted in our life and that we have got. So when things are under our control, we experience order. Order lead to peacefulness. If we want to be peaceful, we can't be peaceful in chaos. When everything is happening without our knowledge, without our understanding, randomly, kabhi bhi kuch bhi ho raha hai, and now that's not a nothing is predictable. We need some reasonable degree of predictability in our life. We can't live completely unpredictable life. What is going to happen next moment if there's no certainty to a of a reasonable degree, then we may find living in a chaos. We say this is like pata nahi chal raha kya ho raha hai mere sath, and that's like saying that we have no control over what's happening in our life. It's like a chaos. So our whole endeavor, our constant endeavor, constant effort is to create order. So when a small baby is born, what does baby do? Baby comes out of the womb of her mother, and her food supply is cut off and baby feel hungry. Now baby can't speak, baby doesn't know any language, baby but baby is hungry, baby is in a chaotic situation, baby is in a problem, and baby cries out loud. Baby cry out loud, and immediately baby is attended by her mother, or the nurse or the father or the other relatives. They all come running, and then the baby discovers that whenever you are in problem, just cry out loud and you will be attended to. And so the order is, what is baby trying to do? Baby is trying to create order in her life, in his life, whatever stage it was. It's just newborn but it is facing with hunger, the basic problem of hunger, and cannot otherwise express itself, himself, herself. So she cries out loud, and she find out that when she does that, she's been attended to, and the order is restored. So this constant adjustment that we do today, we've been doing it since those days, and now we have become expert in that. And so when we are not able to do that, we feel frustrated. So as a child, we study systematically so that we can create order in our future अच्छा करना है तो आज हमें पढ़ना पड़ेगा. That is what the normally children are told, that आगे बढ़ के कुछ अच्छा बनना है तो आज पढ़ाई करो, आज अच्छे से पढ़ाई करो, otherwise तुम्हारा फ्यूचर पता नहीं क्या होगा, बहुत प्रॉब्लमेटिक होगा, बहुत chaotic होगा. So we do two things today using which we believe will benefit us in the future. And the future, when we will grow up, we can, if we have studied well, hopefully we will get a degree, we will do some kind of other course, useful courses, and then we can find a job for ourselves, we can start earning some money and maintain ourselves and our family. So this is the order creation that we've been doing since we are born until we actually die. And this activity is something that keep us busy all the while. In the order is necessary for us to function. Basic level of order is necessary for us to function. Suppose if we are sitting in office and colleagues are sitting on both sides, on the left hand side and or on the right hand side, and we all are expected to work with full concentration, full dedication, and full focus, and with great accuracy. So now in this setup, if we should be reasonably certain, that there is no physical danger to us. The colleague sitting on the right hand side is not going to come and slap me the next moment. And there should be, now this is a possibility, but probability of that happening in the office kind of a setup should be very, 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 very low. Otherwise, no worker will be in a position to focus, because they will always be looking at the core workers if anybody is going to attack from anywhere. So the point is, we need some basic level of certainty is needed. Basic level of certainty, basic level of framework, basic level of assurance is required for us to function, live peacefully, and work purposefully. This is what we intend to do. So we want to live peacefully, and for that, some basic degree of order is required in our life. We can't, if we are in constant chaos, then it's difficult for us to function. There is no peace, and also we will be too much busy in doing firefighting, fixing problems, rather than doing anything with a purpose, so that a bigger objective can be achieved. So so another example we can take is giving class. Now, while we are giving class on this using this digital media, now any moment the internet can go off, the electricity can go, and the class, there could be a disturbance, there could be an interruption in the class. Now that probability exists, that possibility exists, but the probability of that is low. And if I keep worrying about that happening any moment, I will not be able to concentrate and give any share whatever I have to share with everyone, and neither you will benefit nor I will be able to do what I'm supposed to do. I'll not be able to do my job. So this order, why we are discussing this, is that the order is necessary in our life. Some basic degree of order, some basic level of order, basic structure, basic framework is required for us to function properly in this world. And our whole endeavor, if you see what we do, is to create that order, create that certain level of predictability in our life. What's going to happen? I'm going to, not that every day we are going to look for a new home. we have purchased a home, or we have taken a home on rent for about a month, about a year. So for at least next 1 year, I have reasonable certainty that I have to every day evening after completing my job, I have to come and come to stay in this home only, not every day. I don't have to look up for a new home. So this kind of a degree of certainty is necessary for us to be able to function properly in this world. However, the world offers us something different. So world, though the order is desirable, world often forces chaos upon us. So we try keep creating order, and world create chaos for us. And then we try fixing that, and a lot of effort goes in fixing that. By the time that gets fixed, something new comes up, and something new comes up later, and something new comes up later. So our one way to look at it is our constant endeavor. This is our constant endeavor, constant effort is to fix things rather than doing anything meaningful. So we are always busy in fixing things. We busy in taking care of things, busy in dousing the fire that's already there already. And why does that happen? Not that always it's been created by us. It could be, but not often. The world forces such chaos on us, and we become busy in fixing it ourselves. And a lot of time and effort, lifetime can go in fixing problems which world has given us. Now that, why does that happen? And we'll we'll look at that. So these, when the problem is created by me, I understand that I have reasonably control, that I can change my decisions or my activities, adjusted them in such a way that no, I don't land up in a problem later. But if world is doing it apparently for no fault of ours, then it's difficult to understand. And then we'll look at how chaos can be delivered to us. The chaos can be delivered to us through through three types of kleshas. And those kleshas are adi atmic kleshas, which means the miseries caused by one's own mind, one's own body. So we are ourselves causing misery to us. So this is a klesha, adi atmic klesha, adi bhautik klesha. Bhautik klesha are bhutas. Bhutas are all the living entities. Ishwaram sarva bhutanam. So all the other living entities with whom we are surrounded, they can cause miseries to us. The miseries, they can be mosquitoes, from mosquitoes to your own children. They can be anybody, and they cause the miseries to us, and that's called adi bhautik kleshas. Adi devik kleshas are miseries caused by nature, caused by demigods. So these three types of miseries can come upon us, and most of them we will find that we don't have much control over any one of those. Then the question comes, and a lot of our time and effort goes in fixing those. So then the question comes, why do they at all come like this? Why are we subjected to this kind of unfair treatment where we are being forced to fix problems which are created by someone else? Let's look at that. We try to create structure or order, but we don't only want that. Now, this is, we're giving a different perspective, that order is desirable. Order is desirable. Predictability in our life is desirable. Nobody wants to, you know, go and sleep in different home every night. We want reasonable certainty. No, and we do job. We ensure financial security so that we don't have to. We can buy food stuff, we can store them, we can store for some for grains in our home for a reasonable amount of time, so that every day we become hungry, we don't go to market to buy grains, to buy wheat, to buy flour, and to buy to buy vegetables, to buy rice, to buy dal. Now every day we may become hungry twice a day, but and 7 days in a week and 30 days in a month, and we may if we wish to cook food, we may require multiple ingredients. Now, at one level, we don't always uh, go to market every time we feel hungry and start buying stuff. We store them. We created order for ourselves. We don't want chaos, so we created this order. We've taken a rent home. We've either purchased our home or we have taken it on rent for a year or so, and then we have keeping stock of things in our in our home which we require more frequently, so that there is a predictability in our life, there is a pattern in our life, there is less chaos in our life. Something may get over and you may still have to rush to the market, but those situations can be avoided by proper planning, by proper by proper taking care of our food stuff when what is getting depleted, what is getting over, and then replenishing it from time to time. However, what we also understand is that too much order, too much predictability in our life can also be boring. So, for example, the safest place for us is to sit at home, sit in our own home, because we know every inch of it. We know people who live there and everything. However, we like to explore and go out. We like to explore and we go out. We want that adventure. We want that sense of excitement which comes to us, which we experience by exploring the world outside. So this is where our this is again in within our nature. This is the chit potency that we have, that the knowledge we always seek, wish to seek more knowledge. We stick to explore things and see things in the explore newer things rather than just being restricted to the existing things. So this is a new dimension which is coming up. Now we've understood that all our life we've been struggling to create order, but we get bored by too much order in our life, and hence we also wish to have slightly adventure in our life, some excitement in our life. And so we live in the on the border of order and chaos, and that part is called as adventure. And so this is where there is some tension. There is always some tension in our life, and that tension help us grow, help us explore the outside world, and learn so much out of about it and benefit from it. So this we live almost at the border of this tension between the on the borderline of the order and chaos, and that line is of tension line, and then we find ourselves comfortable in that on that line as well. It's like being in stretch zone, being in a stretch zone. So you're not in too much comfort, but you're not overloading yourself, but you're in a stretch zone. So this is this is who we are, and this is our liking is. But so what we have seen so far is we like order in our life. We Everybody is trying to create busy, trying to create order for themselves. Right from birth till we die, we are trying to fix things so that the world around us become more predictable. World around us become more secured. Around us does not always throw surprises to us, and we try to create reasonable assurance, reasonable certainty in the world around us. And that is our effort, lifelong effort, which we start right from the birth and continues, go on till we breathe our last breath. However, that is not sufficient, because we also like little bit tension, little bit chaos, and we like when we explore newer things, we experience that chaos. Get a sense of that chaos. How does, even if our life is secured, largely our life is safe, secured, peaceful, some adventure we our on our own we undertake, and which gives us little exposure to chaos, and that's healthy exposure. It help us grow, it help us explore newer horizons, and eventually grow in knowledge, grow in our activities. So we will come back to this, and we'll look at, we'll explore the event that happened in the Ramayana, the event when, which is described on the screen. I'll read through and we'll describe this event, and then we will understand this event from the perspective of different personalities who are involved in this event. So this event is, most of you might know, but those who don't, this is, the Maharaj Dashrath is becoming old, and by growing, he's ruled his kingdom for Ayodhya kingdom for long, and he's now watching his sons grow. Ram has been, his most beloved son, along with Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrugna. However, Ram has been dear to everyone. Ram has won heart of each and every living soul in Ayodhya. He's been expert in martial military art. He's expert in Raja Vidya. He's expert in politics. He's expert in economics. He's whatever has been taught. He's become completely expert in that. And not only learned, he's executing it. He's performing various tasks that Maharaj Darshat was giving him, and being very pleased, becoming very pleased by Ram's, Ram's, the seeing Ram grow from a small child to a man who can now, who can. But Dashrath has always been thinking who will replace him on the throne, and in Ram he could see that worthy replacement, and he was thinking for long that he should make this as a public announcement, that Ram should replace him on the throne, or the or the Simhasan of Ayodhya. With this in mind, he expressed this desire to his Vasishtha and his other Mantrigan in his darbar, and everybody agrees with joy. Everyone, the Ram was dear to everyone. Ram was life and soul of each and every person in Ayodhya. So there was no question of anybody saying anything to Ram or anything against Ram. However, Dashrath considered it to be his duty to uh, to make sure that he gives this, mute. So let me just all.
Unable to hear, Prabhuji.
So sorry. Yeah, okay. So is this better?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah. So Dashrath received this confirmation and from his assembly and become extremely happy. Also, Dashrath was getting a lot of bad dreams of late, and many bad omens he was seeing, because of which also because he was becoming worried. Now, having received consent from his assembly about Ram's coronation as next king of Ayodhya, he also consulted his gurus as to when he should do that. Now, he wanted to do it in our modern language. We say as early as possible, ASAP, and he didn't wanted to take any chances. He didn't wanted anything to go wrong in his plan, because that's how dear Ram was, and he was so eager to see him become prince and eventually become king of Ayodhya. And he wanted to retire. He wanted to go give everything to Ram, and 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 move out of this politics, move out of this management. Now, having having being aware of those bad omens, he declared that it will be done tomorrow itself. Now Bharat and Shatrughna were not in Ayodhya at that point of time. However, he said we don't even have time for that. Let's tomorrow, if that is if it is an auspicious day, let's do it tomorrow. And he requested Vasishtha for his consent, and then with his consent he asked preparations to begin in the entire Ayodhya for coronation of Lord Ram. Manthara was there. Manthara is Kaikeyi is was the youngest queen of Maharaj Dashrath, the young most young and most beautiful queen that who and Manthara came from her Maika to Ayodhya. So she saw big preparations were going on in Ayodhya, and then she inquired with everyone as to what's happening, what's going on. And then everyone told her that Maharaj Dashrath is going to coronate Ram as next king of Ayodhya. Ram is going to become next king of Ayodhya. Hearing this, her heart was filled with anger and jealousy. Now, since Manthara came from Kaikeyi's Maika, Kaikeyi's home, she was close to Kaikeyi, and Kaikeyi was close to Maharaj Dashrath. So within the royal assembly, Manthara also had a lot of clout. So everybody knew her that she's close to Kaikeyi, who is close to Maharaj Dashrath, who is favorite queen of Maharaj Dashrath. And then the people, she was getting all due respect because of her close proximity to Maharaj Dashrath, who was the king. So everybody was being nice with her, and generally she had that extra clout that she could experience because of her closeness to Kaikeyi, who happened to be the favorite queen of Maharaj Dashrath. Now, with this new development that Manthara was seeing how, as it was unfolding in front of her, she was anticipating that the things won't remain like this anymore. Because if Ram becomes king, his mother Kausalya, she will become Dashrath's favorite queen. And if that happens, Kaikeyi will become a dasi of Kausalya, and Bharat will practically become servant of Lord Ram, and my position will be lost. Today, I'm in the position of influence, and that position will be lost. So this is a chaos that Manthara experienced, and then she wanted to fix it. Let's see what she do to fix it. She immediately goes to Kaikeyi. She goes to Kaikeyi and she starts talking with her. She informed her that this is what is going to happen. And Kaikeyi initially becomes extremely pleased, and she gift her a necklace, pearl necklace, very valuable pearl necklace to Manthara for giving this great news. And she became extremely jubilant. This shows that Kaikeyi used to love Ram as much as she was loving Bharat, her own son. And that's why that's the mood in which she when she heard this beautiful good news about Lord of Ramachandra, she became extremely delighted and gifted Manthara with her valuable jewel. However, Manthara had different plans. So she started talking with Kaikeyi and explaining her with her ideas, uh, with her poison, with her mind. She corrupted Kaikeyi's mind practically. So Kaikeyi, before meeting Manthara's this meeting, was completely she was she was completely loving Ram as much as she was loving her own son Bharat. But after conclusion of this meeting with Manthara, she changed her position almost 180 degree. Now she started hating Ram more than anything else in the world. Now this is what is the effect that we will discuss a little bit in more detail as the power of association, what association can do us. So slowly, I need to keep. Yeah, kindly keep yourself on mute so that we can have discussions later. So and that's what happened. And then this is so Kaikai, Manthara also reminded her that what can she do? She not only gave her the bad desire, also gave her a plan to execute or work on those bad desire. The two boons that Kaikai had, she said this is right time for you to ask those for those two boons. Held under the, so this is copied from the Ramayana book. We'll read some, but we most of you I think might know this. So held under the powerful sway of passion and bound by his infallible promise, the king, like a deer stepping into a snare, made ready to accord to the two boons of his queens. Kaikai continued, "For my first boon, let my son Bharat be installed as the prince regent in Rama's place. For the second, let Ram be exiled to the forest and remain there for 14 years. Be true to your promise, O King of Kings, and cover both yourself and your race." Okay. Yeah. Yeah, your race and everlasting glory. After this conversation that Kaikai had with Maharaj Dashrath, wherein she explained that the time to ask for those two boons is now. She wants her two boons, which Dashrath had promised way back. And these are the two boons that Bharat should be installed as the prince regent in Rama's place. Instead of Rama's, it's Bharat should be installed as a king, prince in regent, and Rama be exiled. Not only she doesn't stop with that. Now asking for kingdom, asking this kingdom for her son, that's one level of but she's going further. She's saying that Manthara had told her that if Ram is so dear, everyone loves Ram so much, that if he stay around in Ayodhya and be there, keep talking with people will not let Bharat function. People need to forget Ram in order for them to accept Bharat as king. Hence, you ensure that you take your second boon and ask Ram to leave Ayodhya, go somewhere else, not even into another kingdom. It's not a question of dividing kingdoms. He should live life that of a Vanvasi and in exile, as a Tadipar kind of a punishment. Now, this punishment of exile is given is a next second is a worst position punishment that any criminal can be given is a death penalty, that he losing his life. The second worst punishment in this order is exile, is as good as dead. You take away everything from them and leave them in jungle at the mercy of as the mercy of nature and the wild animals, and they should not be given anything, they should not be given any resources. So this is worst second worst punishment that can be offered. And so you can imagine the death punishment is given to the extremely worst kind of criminals, and second death maybe a degree lesser kind of criminals. So that मतलब इतने बुरे criminals को जो punishment मिलती है, now that punishment was asked to be given to Ram for practically no fault of his. So Dashrath, after the Kaikai leaves, start, or after she makes her mind, she reveals her mind to him. He is in a state of shock. This is what happens later. For some time, Dashrath gazed at his wife in utter disbelief. He was seized by an agonizing anxiety when he heard her cruel utterance. Surely this could not be happening. Was he really hearing this, or was it a dream? Had something experienced in a former life suddenly returned as a vivid hallucination? Maybe he was simply losing his sanity. How could Kaikei have made such a request? Had she had always shown deep affection for Ram. As he so as next step, Kaikei didn't stop there. Kaikei wanted execution of her wish demands, and king also king also couldn't reject. And then she used her her influence, her power to order Ram, asked Ram to come and meet both of them. And Ram arrives, and as soon as he entered the room, he could sense the tension in the room. Now the room was full of tension. It only had two people, Kaikai and Dashrath. However, the this happens with us. Suddenly you get a call from the boss, asking us to see him, and as soon as we enter a meeting room, we suddenly sometimes sense the tension, and it gets to us. We immediately, even though nothing is spoken, we can understand what's there, what's in store for us, and then we try and prepare ourselves. So Ram suddenly is walking into a chaos. So it's been published that he will become next king of Ayodhya, and this was being, you know, इसका ढिंडोरा पीट के it was informed to all the citizens. The whole city, whole country, whole kingdom was preparing for his coronation. He himself was preparing for that along with his wife and the rest of the family. And suddenly he's asked to walk into a room which is filled with tension. Let's see how Ram handles this. So as he entered the room, Ram saw the afflicted king seated with Kaikai on golden couch. He bowed at his father's feet, then laid himself low before Kaikai, his mind fully composed. He's sensing the tension. However, he's still completely in his control. He's in fully composed. He's now observing Dashrath. Dashratha appeared dejected and distressed, his face streaked with tears. He sat burning with agony and repeatedly sighing, appearing like a eclipse sun, or like a holy Brahmana who has told a lie. Now, these are descriptions given to explain how the situation of Dasharath. Now, Dasharath was in a complete state of shock after hearing the two demands that his beloved wife made to him. And Ram was his life and soul. He even pleaded to her that if Ram goes away for 14 years, I am going to die surely, immediately. I will not even wait for, I cannot even survive for 14 years to see Ram return to Ayodhya. I will immediately die. And which means Kaikai will lose her husband. And even that could not melt her heart. She became so stubborn. She became so determined. She was so much that she didn't wanted to hear anything else than her demands being fulfilled. And this is what now she's going to ensure from Ram. Looking into Ram's apprehensive eyes, Kaikai said, if you will undertake to do whatever the king may ask, be it good or bad for you, then I shall explain everything. I shall speak out the king's promise only as long as it shall not fail because of you. But the king himself will not in any event tell you. Now, having understood Dashrath's position, Kaikai is now has taken control over this in this entire conversation. Now she knows that Dashrath will not be able to speak this kind of a promise, this kind of order he cannot give in his by his own mouth. Now, so she doesn't want anything, she didn't want to take any chance. She just want immediate execution of her boons. And that's why she's now taken control. She's now taken control over this conversation. And she's not only in control, she's navigating it extremely carefully. She wants to make sure that Ram, there's no Ram, there's no question of, she want to make it her argument so much foolproof that in no situation Ram should be able to say no, even if he wished to. She knows that she know Ram for long enough to understand him completely, that he will not do anything against her wish or even Maharaj Dashratha's wish. However, she doesn't want to take any chance, and therefore she's speaking like this, that uh, the promise, I will give you king's order, but it could be bad for you, and you have to promise that it should not fail, which means you have to agree to do whatever king may ask you to do. And Ram immediately agrees, that he say that, alas, how shameful it is that I should hear words expressing doubt about my devotion to my father. Now this is, he is responding to what Kaikeyi has just said, that if I speak, you should do it. You should better do it. Can everybody go on mute, please? Yeah, sorry. So Kaikeyi wants to make sure that there's that Ram does not change his mind, and that's what Ram is confirming, that why you're doubting my, why you raising doubt about my devotion to my father. You should never think this, oh glorious lady. At my father's command, I would I would this very moment leap into blazing fire, swallow a deadly poison, or plunge into the depths of the ocean. Therefore, tell me, my dear mother, what is on your mind? By my by my avowed word, I shall without doubt do whatever is desired by the king. Know that Rama's word is always truth. Now, this is, after having spoken this, Kaikeyi is Kaikeyi get an assurance, that it's a double assurance, that king has given the order and Ram has promised that he will do anything. Now, after jumping into the blazing fire or consuming poison, what worse can there be anything left to be done? So she is now fairly confident that Ram will do whatever she will ask him to do now, on behalf of king, of course. So then she reveals her mind. She reveals that how there was a war that took place between devatas, and or Maharaj Dashrath was fighting a war, and she assisted him in that war by driving his chariot. And during after that, Maharaj became extremely pleased, and he was helped by his own wife. And as a king, you have this generous nature by default. You are a kshatriya, you are ought to be generous, you have to give a lot of charity. So kings, once if they get if they get an obligation from anyone, they want to, return something. And that's what we also do. We receive some obligation from someone, we want to do something for that person as well. We want to return it, may not be in exact quality and quantity. However, we want to do our bit for everyone else also, from whom we receive obligations. So it's natural for a king, for a husband, to ask this to give boons. And being a kshatriya, being a king of such a vast empire, practically the whole world, Dashrath gave those two boons to Kaikeyi. And obviously he didn't anticipated that she will ask something like this. And but in as a in a loving way, he asked, though he gave those two boons to Kaikeyi, and Kaikeyi used those two boons to for this to, I wish for Bharata to be installed in your place, and you to go to the forest for remain there for 14 years. O descendant of emperors, prove true to your word and to that of your father. Indeed, rescue the king from this ignominy, and impiety, and leave without delay. Let Bharat be duly coronated with all the paraphernalia arranged for you, while he remains here to rule this wide and prosperous earth. You shall remain for 14 years in some distant forest, wearing matted locks and the barks from of the tree. We will look at something important in our life also. This makes sense. This is critical. The power of association. A good person suddenly becoming bad. This is what can association do to us. Now, let's try and understand what is association. What do you mean by association? Now, association, by this is physical proximity. We are when we are associating with someone, it's expected the physical proximity is something that we can think of, but that is not alone. That does not alone give us association. There could be a mosquito sitting on my shoulder. Now there is a physical proximity, but there is no association with that mosquito or the fly. So physical association may or may not be there, but association requires something more. Now we are talking digitally. We are associating with each other. We are connecting with each other virtually, all of us. And so we are associating with each other. Now there is no physical proximity. All of you could be sitting in multiple cities across India and listening to this broadcast. However, we are associating. So association does not mean only the physical proximity, but it means transfer of desires, and that transfer of desire from me to all of you should lead to transfer of values, transfer of likes, and transfer of dislikes, pleasures and attachments, etc. So two people, for an example, two people are sitting in a train, or I'm envisaging Mumbai local trains, which people use for going from one station to another, typically for use it for going to work and from home, and then returning from work to home. You can imagine in your city, it could be a bus, whatever it could be, but mode of transport. So the two people sitting in the train may be sitting next to each other, but they're not talking with each other. There's a close physical proximity. In Mumbai train, you can imagine how close it can become. But because there are 1,000 people are packed into a compartment which can have capacity of 500 only. So there is a physical proximity, but there is no conversation between these two people. They are just sitting next to each other. Both of them get down whenever their respective stations come, and so this is an example of physical proximity but no association. There is physical proximity, but there is no association. And another example, let us consider two people sitting in a train talking to each other and sharing their end destinations, information about I'm going to go to say Worli. I need to go to Worli, and then I'm thinking of getting down at Dadar. But instead of Dadar, why don't you get down at Prabhadevi railway station, which is a new railway station which has come up between Dadar and Lower Parel. And from Prabhadevi, if you climb the bridge upstairs, you can find some ready share cabs waiting for you, which can take you to Worli much faster than your other route. And when this conversation happens, the passenger who earlier was planning to get down at Dadar is now prepared to get down at Prabhadevi, the next railway station. So what is happening is there is an exchange, there is an emotion, there is an exchange. Conversation has happened between the two, and that conversation has shaped the behavior of the other person. It has resulted in the other person getting down at station later than what he earlier had thought. So the association shapes or affects our actions. It is not just physical proximity, but it also affect our actions. Example can be example can be that we'll take an example, and example can be taken that of a cigarette advertisement. Now we are considering two types of desires. One is linear desires, which are in straight line. So there is an object and there is a desirer, that is us. We see the object, say object could be rasgulla. I see rasgulla and I get a desire to eat the rasgulla. So there is a straight line relationship between me and rasgulla. However, a cigarette may not look very attractive to me. Um, and then what is done? An advertisement is created wherein a man is man is shown smoking a cigarette, standing next to a good looking woman who is looking admiringly at him. And now this ad and this hoarding when go is published in the city or across the city, across the country. People seeing this are likely to get a desire to smoke like this person and get association of that similar kind of a lady. So this is called triangular relationship with our desire. Now the triangular relationship, now this is what association can do. Now we are understanding association uh, that Kaikai had with Manthara resulted in her downfall. The Kaikai's association with Manthara led to her downfall, because uh, her objective was also to love and serve Ram. Ram is supreme personality of Godhead, and in this particular pastime, she had an opportunity to have him as her son, as good as her son. And so she was serving Ram, she was loving Ram, and that's the whole objective of life. However, Manthara is what is giving her, transferring her desire to Kaikai's mind. Now, before meeting Manthara, Kaikai did not have this desire. She was happy that if she was happy for Ram to become the next king and Bharat to serve Ram as a servant, and because he was a younger brother, and she even felt that Ram is more capable. Ram is the perfect fit to become king after Dashrath. So there was no question, there was no doubt, there was no confusion in her mind of whether or not Ram should become next king. However, conversation with Manthara created that element of doubt, and that led to a transfer of desire from Manthara's mind to Kaikai's mind, and then the later whole episode got unfolded. So the desire, the association has extremely powerful. A devotee association can lift us up from our present consciousness, and a non-devotee association can pull us down from our present situation, wherever we might be today, in terms of our spirituality, our understanding of who God is, what is my relationship with Him, what am I supposed to do. Having known God and me, we both are eternal, we both are spiritual in nature, and we have landed in this world where God has mercifully descended in form of a deity, in the form of a holy name. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to live life just like how I was living before knowing about Krishna? Or am I supposed to make any changes in my current life so that my karma is improved, and later on it can lead me to go back to my original destination, that is a spiritual world from where I have come to this material world. So the devotee association can help us lift upwards towards Krishna. So we have a vertical relationship with Krishna, and we have a horizontal relationship with people around us. So this is us and they, and Krishna is above. Now, us and they, we both have a vertical strong relationship with Krishna. This association, this association with they, us associating with they, we associating with devotees, will help both of us go towards Krishna. And that's the beauty of devotee association. As opposed to this, example of non-devotee association, wherein the non-devotees, they have no association with Krishna, but they have a relationship with Maya, and Maya is below Krishna. Maya, they will pull us down towards Maya. We have a vertical relationship with Krishna, and we have a horizontal relationship with other people who don't have right now any relationship with Krishna. Right now, they are not devotees. They are not caring about their actions. They want to control the world. They want to enjoy the world, and not care for consequences that they might get. And they are prepared to have repeated births. They don't know either about it, or even if they know, they don't want to do anything about it. So they don't have the same desires as we have. However, they have other desires which we don't have right now. By constantly associating with such people, these in this particular slide, they will eventually transfer their desires to us. And eventually, if our relationship with Krishna is weak, we will fall down. This They will help us fall down along with them. So this is what we have reviewed, or we have reviewed this incidents, this event from Kaikai and Manthara's point of view. Let's now look at how Dasharath is taking this event. Dasharath is also a devotee. Dasharath has always been a devotee, has always been performed a lot of austerities to get Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as his son. So he's not ordinary person. However, in this particular pastime, he's acting like an attached father. So this is what Dasharath is now thinking. Ram has left him, and now he's thinking as to why is he been put into this kind of a mess? Why has he been put into this chaos? For what fault of his? Is this wrong to give boon to your own beloved wife? Is this wrong to trust her that she will not make any insane demand? I give you and I give my word, and Kshatriya kings have died for their word. So their word has honor. It's not that the Suryavanshi in which this King Dashrath and Lord Ramachandra appeared, but they were not ordinary people. They were within their dynasty also. It had a reputation. So Dashrath was not in any position to go back to his word, back on his words. However, he never anticipated Kaikai to be so merciless, so cruel, so bad, so wicked. So he is thinking that without doubt, a person receives the result of his own actions, good or bad. Oh, gracious queen, the king said. He now he's conversing with Kausalya when after Ramachandra leaves, and then he is talking with Kausalya this conversation because the king severs his relationship with Kaikai. He said, "I don't want to see your face. I'm not going to consider you as my wife, and you become the cause for Ram to separate from me, and I cannot tolerate this. I cannot kill you, but I cannot live with you." And hence, they both living probably in the same palace, but he stopped seeing her. He stopped considering her as his wife. And then Dashrath remembers this is the end of his life. Ramachandra has already left to for Vanvas, 14 years of exile, and King Dashrath is burning in sorrow of separation from Lord Ram, and that's what is now he's revealing what he was able to how he was able to reconcile the chaos that he got himself into with an event that had happened in the past. So Dashrath is now trying to reconcile what chaos that he ended up into with an event which had happened in past. Now, past he used to practice archery even at night, whereby he was expert in shooting arrow just by hearing the sound. In the direction of sound, he could hit the target very easily. And while practicing on one such day, one such night, he heard he heard somebody drinking. He heard sound of a water has been gulped by an animal, and thinking that to be an animal, he shot an arrow, and it was Shravan. So long ago, so Dashath is describing this event, recalling this event. A long time ago, as a youth, and before we were married, I went to the forest to hunt. I had acquired great skill at bowmanship and could easily hit even an invisible target by its sound alone. Little did I know that the skill of mine, of which I was so proud, would yield such a disastrous result. It was the rainy season and the rivers were swollen. Going out at night on my chariot, I made my way to the Sharayu. I waited there in the darkness by the river bank for a buffalo or an elephant to come by. Soon I heard the sound of gurgling at a point nearby, although I could not see what caused the sound. Thinking the sound to be that of an animal drinking, I took out an arrow and released it. From the quarter where I shot my snake like arrow, there came a loud wail of some forest dweller. In distinct and pain filled tones, I heard the following cry. Now, he is obviously describing his arrow had hit Shravan, and Shravan fell down. He had come to the river to fill a pot with water to be taken to his old and blind parents. And he was taking them from one pilgrimage place to another pilgrimage place. So he was doing his duty as a son. And for no fault of Shravan, he uh, he got hit by an arrow of a king. And then Dasharath went there. He saw what had happened, and he was extremely apologetic about what happened. But how can you? But if you have already killed someone, almost killed someone, how? What's the point of being an apology? Why? What's the point of giving apology? And so Dasharath hears last words from Shravan that he ask him to go to his parents and explain them what had happened. And Dasharath takes the pot, fills it with water, and goes to both these parents of Shravan who are sitting in nearby. And as soon as they go, they understand it's not their son. And at the time, the after hearing the news, the old couple laments for their son. They not only do that, and give they give this curse to Dasharath also at the same time, that saying that at that time the sage said to me, in order to release you from the terrible sin of killing an aesthetic which can drag even the gods down to hell, I shall pronounce upon you a painful curse. Just as I am dying now in the agony of separation from my son, so in the future shall you die in the grief of separation from your son. Dasharath found solace in the curse. He received an accepted situation as will of destiny. So Dasharath was struggling to understand why he ended up being in this chaos, why this chaos came to him. It was all set. His beloved son, the whole Ayodhya, the whole world loved Ram more than their life. Everybody there, he had no enemy. He had practically no enemy. He's expert in everything. Not it's the best kind of a situation. There's nothing more that he wanted than Ram to become king and he to retire. It's a perfect situation, seemingly, it's a perfect script, as he may say. And how suddenly in the course of night everything changed upside down. So he was not able to, he was struggling to understand. And when he could recall these incidents, that had happened in his youth, he found solace in the curse and accepted the situation, made peace with the situation as it is the will of the destiny. So here we see the role of destiny coming to us. Now Dashrath has done nothing wrong. There is nothing or nothing in his control that he otherwise could have done, and hence he's accepting this situation as will of destiny, and the curse help him do this reconciliation. He never did the reconciliation with Kaikai. There's no reconciliation that happened between him and Kaikai. In even Kaikai, the Ram forgives her when he returns after 14 years. He's forgiven her. Even in between, when Bharat goes to meet him in Panchauti, there also he doesn't have any enmity towards this his mother Kaikai, but Dashrath till last breath he couldn't reconcile with Kaikai, but he found solace in the curse and that he received and accepted situation as will of destiny. What did he do? He absorbed himself in the remembrance of Ram and gave up his body in pain of separation and ascended to the highest abode of the Supreme Lord. So he doesn't give up remembrance of Ram. Ram is his son, but Ram is also Supreme Lord himself. So for him, he may be seen as a father attached to his son, and often may get compared with somebody like Dhritarashtra who was attached to Duryodhan. The difference is that his son was Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his absorption in Ramachandra's remembrance gave him the ultimate benefit, the ultimate supreme abode of the Supreme Lord, the highest abode of the Supreme Lord. And that is what we should all be doing. We need to get absorbed ourselves in remembrance of Ram, remembrance of Krishna. Karma and destiny. Let's review this aspect. Now, the same event, Dashrath, we saw how Kaikai dealt with this event. We saw how Dashrath reconciled with this event, and eventually he had to leave his body, but at the moment of death, he was completely absorbed in the remembrance of God. He was not blaming anyone. He was not being resentful, but he was not worried about what otherwise he could have done. He was completely absorbed in remembrance of Lord. He invested himself completely in the remembrance of Lord, and because of the separation, there was agony. And in that mood, he left his body, and then he went back to Godhead. What happened now? We will evaluate. We will look at the same situation from Ram's and Lakshman's point of view. Ramachandra, from Ram's point of view, we've discussed before that it's like being on top. There is nothing more that you could have asked. This is like a perfect script. You are married with Sita, the best wife that you can get, the most beautiful wife, the most prosperous, the biggest kingdom that your father had. He's giving it to you alone, not thinking that let me distribute it amongst 4 brothers equally or with some other proportion. Nothing. He doesn't have enemies. He doesn't have within his kingdom. He practically is being loved and respected, accepted by everyone. So in this situation that Ramachandra was in, and of course he's playing pastime, he's playing this role to the perfection. But in this situation, he goes back to his palace thinking that tomorrow morning I will be coronated, and this has been announced publicly. Preparations are going on, and he wanted to retire for the night, and so that the next day can prepare himself for the next day. Now suddenly, with the turn of event during the night, in the course of night, was such that instead of getting coronated, instead of getting a crown, now he's been asked to give up whatever crown and jewelry that he had, the royal home that he had, the royal facilities that he had, and mat your hairs and wear a tea bark and go to forest and live like a life of a meditant. Now he's a kshatriya. He's a kshatriya king. Practically, he didn't had any. Nobody was equal to him in the archery or in the martial art, but in the military art, nobody was on this planet equal to him, and he knew this. And so in spite of all this, now Ram was been asked to accept this kind of a order. He was given this kind of order under which he will have to go to forest and live life that of a mendicant. Now it's not easy for a kshatriya. This is meant for brahmanas. This is meant for not for kshatriyas. Kshatriyas are meant to rule. They are meant to do administration, meant to fight battles, meant to fight wars, and protect. Is they're meant to protect the whole population, to provide for the whole population. So kshatriya has a lot of qualities and a lot of duties also to the society, to the king, to the population, to the kingdom entirely. So this is so when this came upon Ram. So when he saw that how changed Kaikai is, he understood that there is something else happening in this room, and that's where he started preparing himself for the eventuality. So Ram so why did so there are two type of people generally that we see in the world, and broadly we can classify as them as a daivavadi, or those who think that destiny is supreme and there is nothing in our control. And then there are other examples of karmavadis. Karmavadis are the ones who think that everything is in our control, everything is in our hand. Why this distinction is required? Because we need to understand the decision taken by Lord Ram falls under which category. Is it a daivavad or is it a karmavad? And hence we should understand the difference between the both. So daivavad is where where one think that nothing is in my control. I have and whatever is happening, nothing is in my control basically. So practically there is no effort, there are no endeavors, active actions being performed by these people. And the karmavadi, on the other hand, on the other end of the extreme, feels that everything is in their control. With their hard work they can attain everything. Now practically, we can understand that both are wrong to a certain degree. A karmavadi is, you may have a very weak thin body, so you cannot become world champion boxer. That's just a fact. If your height is 5 feet, you cannot become 6 feet. That's just a fact, because it's not by hard work you are going to become 6 feet from being 5 feet. so so karmavadis also get it wrong, that by hard work that there are things which you just have to accept, which just cannot change. uh, but but there are that doesn't mean that there is nothing that you can change. There are things in our control and there are things outside our control. So when Ram agrees to go to forest, what is he doing? Is he accepting this as a will of the destiny, that I should go to forest, or is there something else that he's thinking? He's thinking something else. He understands this, that the turn of event is not because of his own fault, because he has done anything wrong. So there is a hand of destiny in this for sure. However, his decisions, his actions are not driven only by that aspect, by that knowledge. So his actions are driven by duty, his sense of duty as a son for his father. He's agreeing to go to forest, accepting desire of his father as a duty. So he's now evaluating his relationship with his father as a father and son. not even as a king and a normal person in the kingdom who needs protection from his king. He's considering himself as as a son, and Dashrath as a king. And in this setup, in this perspective, when he hears, when he evaluates that this is the order given by my father who to me, what am I supposed to do? And then he gets an answer that he's supposed to do what his father tell him to do, this is his duty, this is his dharma. So Lakshman is, on the other hand, is outraged and expresses his desire to fight with anyone who stops Ram from becoming king. He says, "Nothing doing. We are not going anywhere. There's no fault of yours." And he speaks some sharp words for his father. He says, "Our father is not able to overcome the desire attachment to his wife. So it's driven by his actions are driven by lust. How could our father do such an injustice? The heroes, the cowards accept injustice as destiny. Heroes fight against injustice. We don't have to accept this injustice." So Lakshmana is speaking in speaking in strong language, strong words, and and asking Ram to continue with the plan of getting coronated tomorrow. And he says, "I will fight with anyone who I'll do whatever you want me to do, and if required, we will fight against Maharaj Dashrath himself if he try to stop us from doing this." So this is how strongly Lakshmana is asking Ram uh, to not accept this injustice, to say the least. So Ram, on the other hand, is calm, is peaceful, and is in control of himself. He is duty centered. He is duty centered, and hence, as a matter of duty to his father, he accepted to follow the desire of his father. Accepted to follow the desire of his father. So there is a tension between the brothers for a while, and afterwards Lakshmana agrees with. He said, "I cannot live without you. So whatever is your decision, I will follow you. But this is what I felt you should do. And if you don't want to do that, that's completely up to you. But and I'm obliged to follow you. I will follow you in forest. If you wish to go to forest, I will come to you. I'll come along with you to the forest." So, as I mentioned, Rama seems to be advocating Daivavad, but that is not true. Why? Because now he's not accepting this his father's wish on just because it is his destiny. It is the will of destiny, because that is will of destiny is for me to spend next 14 years in forest. So be it. I will not challenge that. He's not doing it for the will of destiny. He's doing it as a duty. He's doing it as a duty, as his duty to his father, in his capacity as a son. This It is his duty to obey his father, and hence he's accepting this, taking this vow of going to forest for 14 years. So when in future, when Sita was kidnapped, he didn't say it was will of destiny. And that's why we know that Ram's first decision was also duty driven, and second decision was also duty driven. He Even though he didn't had anything, he didn't had resources, he didn't had army, he didn't had kingdom, but he he collected everything. He uh, launched search for Sita. He found out where Sita has been taken to, goes there, fight a big war with Ravana, and kills him and gets his wife back. And this is his duty as a kshatriya husband. So by all means, Ram's actions are driven by duty, whereby Lakshman's speech was driven by emotion. So Ram was not acting, doesn't he doesn't reject role of destiny, but he doesn't act purely on the basis of destiny. His actions are not only driven by the knowledge of destiny. His actions are duty centric, are driven by the knowledge of his duty. So whatever he did, uh, so he did everything in his control to search Sita, did an alliance with Sugriv, and fought a war to win back his wife. Saying everything is destined is wrong and show irresponsibility on the part of a doer. Any doer who says everything is destined, it is incorrect. It is incorrect perspective of an understanding of the concept of daiva or destiny, which is nothing but accumulated fruit of all our past karma, and blaming on that, and not doing any action is incorrect. And therefore it shows irresponsibility on the part of a doer. And on the other hand, saying that everything is in our hand is also incorrect, because at many times we see situations are actually beyond our control, and we have done nothing to aggravate those situations, and still we have to suffer with those situations. So saying that everything is in my control is incorrect. Saying that nothing is in my control is also incorrect. And so the reality, the balance lies in between. Now, how much is in our control and how much is beyond our control, which is part of the destiny. And the first is the part where we have ability to take some action on our own. Now, these two parts, how to understand that what is outside our control and what is within our control. At times, the differentiation line between the two can be blur, and hence it can become sometimes difficult to judge that what is in our control, what is not in our control. So but it depends on what? It depends on time, place, and circumstance. But this is where dharma comes in. Dharma means to do our duty, responsibility in a responsible way, no matter what the situation we find ourselves in. To do dharma means to do our duty responsibly, no matter what the situation we find ourselves in. So doing our duty in every situation is must. So we may assess the situation. Now the situation could be bad because of because of our immediate actions, or because of some actions taken by some people around us, or it is generally bad because of the because of the modes of nature acting, because of the nature acting against us. So sometimes there can be excessive heat, there can be excessive cold. There's nothing that anybody on this planet can do about it. So it happens, and when it rains and it floods everything, that also happens. Nobody, it's not a reason for flood is not that somebody kept the tap open, just like how it happens in our buildings. But it just happens, and nobody knows why it happens. Nobody knows clearly why it happens and how it can be stopped. So that is something from the normal doer's standpoint. That is something outside his control. Dharma means to do what is in our control. Suppose if we are flying, and if we want to go from Mumbai to Delhi, then we need to buy a ticket, a valid ticket from the desired airline that we wish to travel with. Also, we need to, that's not it, we need to do something more. On the date of journey, on the date of travel, we must, if it is a morning flight, we must ensure that we reach airport before sufficient time, for which will allow us to complete our security checks and check in, and we can make ourselves available to be boarded into the aircraft. Now this is our part. This is our part. We can, when the boarding starts, we can walk inside a aircraft along with the other passengers and occupy our seat and sit peacefully. Now the But this is not enough for me to reach Delhi from Mumbai. What needs to happen more? The airline need to function. Airline need to take off and actually travel the distance from Mumbai to Delhi and land safely in Delhi, so that I can actually reach Delhi. So my activities are important, but they are not sufficient. They are not only important. There's something else also that requires to function, that must function in order for me to achieve the fruit that I wish to. So that for me to travel from Mumbai to Delhi, I have my part, but there are if there is bad weather in Delhi, all flights are cancelled between Mumbai and Delhi. Then there is nothing that I can do apart from I just have to accept the situation as it unfolds. So karma plus daiva plus kala is the phala. Karma plus daiva plus phala plus kala is equal to phala. Phala is the fruit. So if I wish to travel from Mumbai to Delhi, the fruit is I reach Delhi. There has to be a karma that we discuss, that I need to perform. I need to purchase a valid ticket. I need to make myself, subjected to the scrutiny of physical verification and check in my baggage, come on time and make myself available to be boarded into the aircraft. Whenever the boarding announcement happens, it's my job to make myself walk into the aircraft, occupy my seat, and then sit there, waiting for a flight to take off. And then there is a daiva factor involved in every action, every that we environment where we live. Now there could be a cyclone that might hit the skies, and all flights might get cancelled. There is an excessive flood that may happen in the city, because of which all flights may get cancelled. There could be a snag that may get developed in the aircraft, because of which all flights may get cancelled. Or there could be a general cancellation from the airline that can get communicated to you at the last moment, because of which the flight may get cancelled. The staff may not report on duty, staff may go on strike, and whatever could be the reason. Uh, the the end result is that you're not taking off. Now you have done your part, but airline is not doing their part, and unless airline does their part, you cannot reach Delhi, which is your destination. That's their follow. And even if everything happens, you still have to wait for 2 hours to reach Delhi from Mumbai. Similarly, another example can be the farmer must sow the seeds by plowing the land. That's karma of farmer. Rain must come on time and in the right quantity. So too much rain can affect the output, and too little rain can also affect the output. So there might not be proper output. So there is a daiva factor. So there is a karma factor, there is a daiva factor. Karma factor is farmer activities that must be done by farmer, that that will give himself an opportunity to have a harvest. And daiva factor are those which are outside farmer's control, but farmer has to hope that those will be in favorable, those will be favorable for him, so that the output can be good. And the kala, that's the passage of time. Now even if I may sow seed today, I need to still wait for the required time duration for that particular crop, and before that I cannot get anything. So there is a kala factor, there is a time factor that is involved. So the karma, the action, the daiva, the fate or the destiny, and kala, the time, all three uh, combined give us the fruit. They can, their combination can be different proportions, but this is what gives us the fruit ultimately. If farmer thinks that nothing is in my control and don't sow the seeds at all, then even if rain comes, since there are no seeds, no crop grows, and only the weeds will grow, and the farmer will miss the opportunity to earn harvest for himself. So it doesn't help thinking that there is nothing in my control. Now, farmer may go on the opposite, says that everything is in my control. If I work hard, I will get, everything is in my control. My output is in my control alone. Then even that will be incorrect, because even if he may do all that is in his control to plow the field and sow the seed, um, the rain still has to come in the right quantity and also at the right time. And if rain doesn't come, no matter how good he was in plowing field and sowing the seed, no harvest can come, because the rain is not in farmer's control. Even if both things work, the time factor we discussed, that has to still go by, and so that the harvest can be made available to the farmer. So we must do everything that is in our control, and then leave the rest and accept the result as they come by. Now this adjustment is very important to understand that we must do in every situation. There will be something that we should be able to do, and whatever that ability, whatever that doership that we may have, whatever that duty that we may have in every situation, that is what we should always do, no matter how bad our situation may look from outside. So karma has to be performed. Karma can be done as a so karma must be done irrespective of what the situation is. The situation is determined by our daiva. That is, we have less control over the external situation, over the external people acting with us, behaving with us in a particular way. We have lesser control over there. So there is a daiva factor involved. And finally, whatever is the fruit, whatever is the phala, as a combination, as a different proportion, whatever the phala that is allotted to us, we must accept it without resentment, so that we accept the results, and that whatever that comes, and that's how we can move forward. Now, last point to talk is how a devotee, how does a devotee, where does the devotion comes in between. Now both these karma, both these actions and destiny factors can be spiritualized. Can be spiritualized to understand that we do everything as a service to Krishna. We do whatever we do as a service to Krishna, and karma can be done as a service to Krishna, and daiva can be accepted as a generous offering. And daiva can be accepted as depending fully on Krishna, knowing whatever he is giving us, um, he can give us best out of a worse situation also. Whatever, if we are a devotee, and if we accept calamity, if we accept harsh situation that can come upon us, uh, knowing fully that Krishna is aware you are his devotee, and Krishna is aware of this situation being given to us to deal with. So I have two choices. I have to do what I can still do in the given situation. So that is the karma factor. So, and that also I will do as a service to Krishna. So I'm using my calamity to go closer to Krishna. First, I'm not having any resentful attitude towards Krishna, that in spite of me chanting 16 rounds, why are these calamity falling on my head? Why am I being targeted by you? Why am I not being protected from all the calamities? So karma, so that way the daiva can become very disturbing for us. Daiva can become very disturbing and push us away from away from Krishna consciousness practice. Similarly, anything that we wish to do in any situation, we should do it as a service to Krishna. We should do it as a service to Krishna, his or any fragmented souls of Krishna who could be living with us as our family. So anything, karma can be done as a service, and daiva can be accepted as a dependence by depending upon Krishna. So in the both situations, so this is called acting in devotion or actions in devotion. In both situations, the doer, you are not resentful, you don't have any grudges against anything. You're still doing anything, everything that is possible within your control to do and mitigate the situation, whatever can that be. But at the same time, you're not agitated, knowing fully that this has been given with Krishna's sanction, and accepting it as a result of it, as this has resulted in your own old past misdeeds, which are now being delivered to us as a fruit. But and knowing that Krishna has best plan in this situation also, and using this situation also to go close to Krishna. So this way, this is how a devotee act. This is how, so there desire to serve Krishna never goes away in every situation. Every situation they try to do what they can best do for Krishna. So by acting this is acting in devotion without worrying about either daiva or karma or both. So this is how a devotee will generate his consciousness and how to become a pure devotee, how to become a devotee of Krishna. We take to the chanting, the process of chanting and hearing from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, which starts at 8:30 p.m. every day, and the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which starts at 4:45 p.m., goes on till 7:30 p.m. every day. So this chanting session in the morning, especially, is something which you can all consider, and all to join and chant with the devotees, chant with wonderful Vaishnavas who help us understand why chanting is, who help us remind every day why chanting is so important, and why remembrance of Krishna is going to be our ultimate benefit. So I'll end today's session. In the summary, we spoke about we spoke about our we started by discussing the difference between order and chaos, how we want order and we want to avoid chaos. And we also saw that chaos is not altogether completely bad. We if it is at the, if we are at the border of chaos, we feel okay. We call it exploration, we call that tension, we like it, and that adventure, that excitement, we like all that. So we wish to experience a little bit of that. And then we saw an event from Lord Ramachandra's life, wherein on the night prior to his coronation as a king, next king of Ayodhya, there was a turn of event within his home. And by way of age, his mother asked for two horrible boons from his father, and as an obedient son, he agrees to fulfill those desire wishes, and accept it, that steps away from the throne, from the kingdom, from the simhasan. And not only stops there, he also goes to forest and agrees to spend next 14 years of his life in the forest as a mendicant, and allow Bharat to rule and gain the fame that Kaikai wanted for Bharat to enjoy. Kaikai got it wrong because of her association. Dashrath, uh, Dashrath was bewildered initially to the turn of this event, and then later on reconciled this as the will of destiny, because there is nothing that uh, what he did, there was nothing wrong, first of all, and nothing else otherwise he could have done anyway. And hence, if this was the will of destiny, and that he could relate with an old incident which happened in his youth days, wherein he accidentally killed Shravan, and he was subjected to this similar curse, under which he had to leave body. He had to leave body in the separation of his son, and though he were all of them were his son, but Lord Ramchandra was his life and soul. So the moment Lord Ram went into the forest, Dasharatha knew that he will eventually give his body very, very quickly. And that's what happened. But before that happened, he reconciled with himself. He understood that it is the will of destiny, because of which what has happened, and he should accept it. He should not be resentful against it, and he should do what then best he can do. And he did that. In every situation, there is no situation bad for us that where we cannot cultivate remembrance of Krishna or remembrance of Lord Ram. So even in grief, or even in a bad situation, bad health, bad mood, Dashrath didn't give up remembrance of Lord Ram. And remaining absorbed in remembrance of Lord Ram, he gave up his body and attained the highest or supreme abode of Lord Ramchandra. Uh, Thirdly, we saw the same incidents. We discussed the same incidents from the perspective of two brothers, the Lord Ram himself and Lakshman. Now both are acting like normal family members. The both are covered by Yogamaya for their divinity. They both, if they both were to reveal their divinity, the whole event or the whole event could have just simply got spoiled. Hence they're covered, they're both covered their divinity. And in as a human, now they are acting at a human platform, they're acting, and they're discussing and they're evaluating various options and making decisions. So here Lord Ram didn't affect Lakshmana's association, and agrees to do what he was proposing to do. He continued to give his association to Lakshman and not take Lakshman's association with from him. So what was the difference? The difference is, if Ram were to take advice from Lakshman or association of Lakshman, he would have acted what Lakshman was advising, and that would have taken him away from his duty. That would have uh, that would have been a by doing that, he would not have been, he would have got away from the path of dharma, and dharma is duty, and Ram didn't couldn't have done that. And so hence he is an ideal king, an ideal prince, an ideal man. So he has to be and behave in a complete ideal way, and therefore Lord Ram remain duty centric. Ram always evaluated situation. Now the situation could have emerged because of the destiny. However, what action you take to respond to that situation are within your control, and Ramachandra exactly did that. So he didn't move away from the path of his devotion to his father, or path from where he's obliged, he's supposed to do his duty as a son. He didn't deviated even once, and thereby he chose the he chose to do what his father decided wanted him to do. But later, when his wife was kidnapped, he did what was within his capacity, as a husband. So he did his duty as a husband. Then he did his duty as a son, uh, to his father now. And Lakshman obviously was 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 acting. So the Lakshman was suffering from Adi Atmik Klesha. We discussed those kleshas, that the chaos come upon us through these three means. It comes from Adi Atmik, or Adi Daivik, or Adi Bhautik. So from Dasharath's point of view, the klesha was caused by Kaikeyi's demand. So Kaikeyi was his own beloved wife. So this is an example of Adi Bhautik kleshas. And Lakshman's miseries that was causing to himself, he was burning with anger. Now, there is one trigger which has come from Kaikeyi, but it was not meant for Lakshman. Lakshman was not asked to go anywhere. He could have just stayed there. So this was not meant for Lakshman, but Lakshman took it that way. And that happened because of our own mind, our own mind tricking us at times. And his case, he's devoted to his brother, and he would have done whatever his brother would have done. So to that extent, he's also doing, following his brother is his duty, and he's doing that. However, the misery that has caused, the anger that he was experiencing, that's an example of Adi Atmik Klesha for Lakshman. Adi Daivik Kleshas are the ones which are caused by nature. Like nowadays, we are experiencing excessive heat. That's an example of Adi Daivik Klesha. So this is how we can understand and we can summarize the this beautiful incidents, this beautiful event from Lord Ramachandra's Ramayana, and take some learnings out of it for ourselves. So so I'll stop here, and we will wait for some questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, here I have seen two observations. Like on one side, Krishna says that once you surrender to me, then all your past karmas will get vanished. And in this, wherein Dashrath Maharaj was so attached to Ram, and after so many births, his desire was fulfilled that he got Ram as a son. So why he was he had to undergo that karmic nature then?
So, Maharaj Dasharath's example of he accepting. So these are pastimes also. When Lord Ramachandra appears, he doesn't appear because of the his own karmic reaction. He appears with his associates and he perform pastimes. Now, when you look at the same event at a pastime level, or review this same incidents from a level of a pastime, so at the pastime, when Lord Ram or when Maharaj Dashrath's past Maharaj Dashrath had to depart from this planet, when the Ram he had to depart from this scene, because this pastime has a script and each character play theirs as per their script, and you have an entry point, you have an exit point in the play. It's like a play. When pastimes are drafted in this manner, in this particular manner, then there will be a time when you will have to enter the scene and you will have to exit the scene. Your entry and exit are all written by Lord Ram himself, because his pastime nobody else can write for him, but they are directed by Yogamaya. So they are written by Krishna, written by Lord himself, and directed by Yogamaya. So Yogamaya covers required characters from time to time so that each character can play their part to the perfection. So at a level of, when we review the same event at a pastime, as a pastime, the Dashrath, when his time to exit the scene, exit the drama came, he needed a reason to exit, and this is the reason that was built in into the storyline, using which he could exit from the scene. So this is the description, this can be the understanding that we can get at a level of pastime. However, if we review this only at a pastime level, then we may not get any learnings out of it. To learn the practical aspect of our life, we review, we also ourselves forget that this was a pastime, and then we try to analyze each actions from the world situation that we may face from time to time. And when we do that, we get these learnings. Now, if you if you see this pastime, if you see this at the level of pastime or at the level of drama, there is little scope for us to draw learnings out of drama, because dramas are written. They are not meant. They're meant for entertainment, not really meant for any teachings. They may teach some basic values, but here the pastimes, when we analyze them at the level of at the not at the level of pastime, but at the level of the events as they occurred, the events as the characters demonstrated, that the actions taken by each character are not at a level of pastime, but at the level of how a father would have acted, how a son would have acted, how mother is supposed to act, how a king is supposed to do whatever he do. When we review these or analyze them at this level, then we are able to draw learnings out of it. And hence, at a level of pastime, simple answer can be his time for exit was there, and hence he used this as an opportunity to leave his body, and therefore this situation was created. At a level of pastime, it was also necessary for Lord Ramachandra to go to forest so that the subsequent part could occur. Because Sita could have got kidnapped, and then the Ravana and Ravana along with his brother Kumbhakarna, they could have been killed, and this was the curse which was given by four Kumaras to Jai Vijay when four Kumaras were visiting Vaikuntha. So there is a whole, when we look at it at that level, we see there is a reason for every reason, and Krishna is the ultimate reason, and we stop with Krishna. However, at the level of at the level where we see a father acting, a mother acting, a king acting, there we can relate these incidences with our own life, and then from there we can draw learnings. so so Dasharath, saying that Dasharath was suffering his karma or his destiny, is wrong. But when it happens to us, whatever happens to us, are we part of some play? Definitely no. Are we suffering our destiny when suddenly we lose our job, we lose our loved one, and that causes some agony to us or some distress to us? The answer is yes. Our in our life, whatever good, bad, and ugly things are happening, they're all happening because of our own past karmas reactions now being delivered to us right now. So we are not part of any play. We are part of bigger, at a bigger level. We are also part of play because our destinies are pre-written and our events are pre-written. Our life is uh, mandated. How long we will live, how long and what all we will achieve, how much opulence we will get, how much intelligent we will be, what will be my height, which family I will be born in, and how much sufferings I will get, how much pains I will get. All those are fixed. What is not fixed in my life is devotion. If I choose, I have, I will just keep choosing whenever my time will come to experience misery. My gunas, the modes of my nature that I have acquired, the rajo, sattva, and tamo gunas, will help me pick up my cause for suffering. I may, if I have a tamoguna, I may get drunk and I may fall in a ditch and my break my leg, and thereby I may get a suffering. If I'm in the sattva guna, something else could happen. However, as long as I'm playing in the jurisdiction of gunas, I'm not doing any spiritual activity, I'm will be subjected to pain and pleasures as per my whenever they are scheduled to come. So this is where our lives are different than the lives of those of characters in the great epics of Ramayana and Mahabharata. However, these stories, these have survived. They are meant, at one level they are pastimes, but they are also meant to give us teachings. They are also supposed to, otherwise they would not have they would not have remain as they are over so many years. So the Darwin's theory proposes that the survival of the fittest, which means if something is not useful, it cannot last for 5,000 years. If something is not useful, it just cannot last for 5,000 years. And the very proof that it is lasting for so long, and that itself is a proof that it has a deeper purpose to serve. The stories of the itihasas, the Vedas, the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, they have survived for 5,000 years because they have been serving some purpose for previous generations, and they will continue to uh, be in existence until, as long as they people use them for making spiritual decisions. So this is my answer, that except for devotional service, except for spirituality, everything else in our life is destined. We just keep picking and choosing it as per our modes of nature. But that was not the case with Maharaj Dashrath.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Good chat
Hare
box.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare
Dandavat
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Pranam. Sir, I just want to have the kind of comparison that is the Ramayana has taken place in Treta Yuga, and right now we are in Kali Yuga. So we are just we can take one example that Ram was taken to Vanvasa for 14 years. So right now I am in the Kali Yuga, and I can experience, I can imagine that what is 14 years. But in Treta Yuga, the 14 years is, should be different. So
Sunil Mane Prabhu, I miss your question. So, yeah, is the question that did time remain same through all the yugas? Is that a question? Okay, we'll probably come to his question. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, Prabhuji.
yeah. So let's go to some other question. So the time, earthly time is same. The time, time calculation, the time in other planetary system is different. So earthly time, we can assume to be the same in all the yugas. Swapnil Prabhuji, does karma or destiny more prevalent in our life? So Swapnil Prabhu's question is this: whether our life, who's the dominant player in our life, whether it is karma and destiny. So destiny is going to give us a framework, and karma, with karma we are going to color it. It's like giving us a drawing to draw, or it's giving us a painting with which has boundaries, and we just have to fill the colors. So there is something in our control. It's not that there is nothing in our control, but the boundaries will not change for us. Our lifespan may not change for us. Our sufferings may not change for us. Our pleasures, which are we are destined to get, are may not change for us. What can change is our actions, and we can spiritualize everything. We can spiritualize whatever we do. When we do it for Krishna, we are spiritualizing our actions. Thereby, we are neither we are taking a step towards exiting from the cycle of birth, because now our actions, when we do those as service to Krishna, I may rule a kingdom as a service to Krishna. I may maintain my family as a service to Krishna, because I may see my family members as part and parcel of Krishna, as particles of Krishna, as children of Krishna, and that's correct. It's not a wrong understanding. And with that mood, when I work hard to maintain this family so that my family can take up Krishna consciousness, I am doing spiritual service. I may directly render some service to Krishna. So my services, my actions determines has consequences, and they determine my future. As long as but the overall framework remains the same, and thereby that's how our current birth will progress. Because we had those karmas, we've been given a particular body in a particular family with a particular set of skills, abilities, qualities, and the skin color, the beauty or health, or the lack of health, or whatever that we have today, has been carefully given to us. We have earned it through our hard work in the past. If anybody is begging at a signal in the 40 degrees Celsius uh, bad heat of Mumbai or Delhi, that person has worked hard for attaining that kind of a destination. So we may do our part, and we may feel sad about it, and we may give him some prasad or something, but that's our karma. But that person has earned his destiny through hard work. He has worked so bad, so bad, so bad, that he's now finally been given this kind of a birth. None of these things have happened by chance. So to that extent, we must understand that destiny do play a role. However, saying that only destiny has a role, I have no role, is also incorrect. So we must keep doing our actions, and our actions, if we do at a spiritual level, they not only don't produce current reactions, but they also help us burn the previous reactions, so that our truckload of or millions of or all the accumulated fruits of millions and millions of lifetimes, they can start burning faster, and we may continue our journey in this. We may perfect it in this birth, or we may continue our journey in the devotee life we may get similar facility in next birth to perfect our life. So both the possibilities, Krishna has kept it open. Options we have the to the degree we surrender to Krishna, to the degree we accept Krishna consciousness and practice Krishna consciousness in our life, day-to-day life, to that degree Krishna is going to reciprocate with us. And the more we do, the better results that we can expect. And if we do 100%, Krishna is guaranteeing that he can take us back at his abode in this lifetime itself. He doesn't want to test us beyond this anymore. As you rightly explained, the reality lies in the midway of karma and daivavad. Thank you. Wonderful sessions. Any more questions anyone might have? Or we can end today's session. So there are happy Ram Navami messages. Yes, happy Ram Navami to everyone. Please try and visit Ram temple, take darshan, take prasad, whichever nearby temple that you may have. And it's very auspicious day. We fast till noon time. 11 a.m. the Abhishek was scheduled to be done of Lord Ram in the Juhu temple. And so we'll try and share some pictures in the group later. But very auspicious day. And yeah, happy Ram Navami to everyone. So if there are no more questions, we can end today's session.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Vikas Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
And thank you very much, Prabhuji. You have taken the wonderful session, and some of the shortcoming of thought process you have just clarified in that, like that karmavad and devavad, which the reality lies between them, that something can be done from our side and others are destined to be done, which are destiny that is to be accepted. And a wonderful explanation of dharma you have given, means beyond that, then there remains no confusion after that, that our duties are to be performed, means which are the actual duty, and that becomes our dharma, like the example of Lord Ramchandra you have given. So it was really wonderful, Prabhuji. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for
And
listening.
again,
Hare
the
Krishna.
example of Dasharath can also be very, we elaborated that, but, so he was in a lose-lose situation where his wife has betrayed him, his son has gone, the beloved son has gone, and he had no interest in living life. And what did he do then? He got himself absorbed in remembrance of Lord Ram. Now, we may at times, find it uh, difficult to do those things when calamity come on us. It's so easy to forget Lord. But Dashrath, by his example, is showing the otherwise. He embraced Ram's remembrance, and ultimately he had to leave body, and at that point of time, but he left his body by engrossing himself in remembrance of Lord Ram. So that's the whole purpose of life. And in so use every calamity. The one of the another learning can be that every calamity can bring us close to Krishna. Every calamity can be used to go closer to Krishna. And so calamities are blessings, can be considered as a blessings coming upon us, because one, it tell us that our bad karma is burning, and second, when we consciously choose to go closer to Krishna, it helps us increase our devotion and trust and faith on Krishna, because Krishna has not said that this is a pleasure, this is heaven, this is going to, you are come to enjoy here. He has said this is dukkha shashvatam. So when we find dukkha here, it is just proving Krishna's words. And we can use those every opportunity. Now all of us can have hundreds of problems. Day to day we are all grappling with chaos in our own respective lives. And but everything can be, every opportunity, there can always be something that we can do to go closer to Krishna. This is what we heard, we learned from Maharaj Dashrath's actions, who was in a kind of helpless and hopeless, the most hopeless and most helpless situation. But there also he utilized that moment also in remembrance of, cultivating remembrance of Ram, and attain Ram at the end of his life. So yeah, That's beautiful pastimes, beautiful event. And this is just one event. The whole Ramayana, can be discussed in this manner, and then it can just become a forever discussion. That's the beauty of our scriptures. That's why they are timeless.
Yes, Prabhuji, and that is why Narottam Prabhuji tells that Swadu, Swadu Pade Pade. Means the more you hear, the more relishing you find it every time, even if the pastime is the same.
Yeah, absolutely. The same pastime, some other speaker can, bring out so many other factors from it, and then it's just so relishable, but also relevant also. I mean, as I mentioned that, if we hear it only at the level of pastime, then it just become a katha, and then we just forget it. We'll forget it the moment it's ended. But by drawing parallels with our life, then we say that we also land up in chaos from time to time. And how do we respond? And how did these characters responded? So this is how we can draw some learnings out of it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so
Dandavat
much for
Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Yes. Thank you so much for attending.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thanks, Prabhuji.